Hey guys, Adam here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be doing part 2 of the 1.5 patch review. So I'm going to keep going through the cards and other notes from the patch. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so next they have Genevieve Elmhart. They gave her +1/+1 basically. So she used to be a 6-mana 4/4 that gave all your allies +1/+1 in the round, and she has Scout and Challenger. Now she's a 5/5. She basically only has to compete for her spot with Cytherea. Cytherea is her only competition, really. And the reason why she was bad before was because 4/4 stats were not good enough. Obviously, that's why they gave her +1/+1. But now the ability to survive a lot more things gives her some more flexibility. The Scout and the Challenger is huge because if you can attack with her, kill something, and then attack with her again and kill something, it's just broken. But giving your other allies +1/+1 that round is actually kind of a weakness because you can play Cytherea, then on your turn open attack with her. So Genevieve only has to compete with Cytherea, but definitely she's going to make a huge impact on Bannerman decks. The next card that got changed was Unyielding Spirit. This spell got changed from Burst to Fast Speed. So basically this card can now be interacted with. Instead of giving a follower Immortal, basically, you actually can kill the ally they're targeting and kill it. So basically this card is a lot worse because if your opponent isn't tapped out, they can interact and probably kill the champion or follower you're trying to target. I don't think this card's going to be out of it, and it's going to still be prevalent in the meta. It's just going to be a lot harder to use. Next, they changed Basilisk Rider from 2 health to 3 health. So when he gets the +1/+1, he goes up to 4 health. This card is actually really good now. I can say that from experience because I've gone against at least 2 decks playing this card. A 6/4 for 4 mana with Overwhelm is just a lot. It's not even the Overwhelm or the damage, it's the health. The health being at 4 is really hard to deal with for a lot of decks, and this card actually might make a comeback. I don't know. We'll see. The next card that changed was Captain Farron. And, this basically was an 8-mana 8/8 with Overwhelm that changed your hand into Decimates. Now, he says create 3 Decimates in hand. So this actually becomes card advantage. So for a lot of decks, this guy's actually viable. And being an 8/8 Overwhelm is nice. The only problem is the Decimates each cost 5 mana. So this guy is a lot of mana to play, which is a huge downside to the card. It means he's just basically a worse Ledros. He might work in some decks, but overall, I feel like he's going to just be a worse Ledros. The next card that they changed was Aurora Borealis. So this card got changed from 7 mana to 6 mana. At burst speed, I don't know. At burst speed, it creates 2 random Poros and 2 Poros snacks in hand. So this card is a very heavy Poro synergy card, and this kind of goes with the other Poro cards they changed. But overall, this is not a huge change. This card's still pretty bad. It doesn't get you a lot of value for its mana cost, and you having to pay 6 extra mana for the Poro snacks is just not great. Anyway, the next card that they changed was Poro Herder. They changed his cost from 4 to 2 mana, his power from 3 to 2, and his health from 4 to 3. His old text was, when I'm summoned, draw 2 Poros if you have Poro ally. Now he says, when I'm summoned, draw Poro if you have a Poro ally. So if you have a Poro, say you have a Lonely Poro or a Poro from Braum, you get to actually draw a Poro from your deck. So this guy being 2 mana is a huge change because turn 1 you can curve out with a Lonely Poro, turn 2 you can play this guy and draw an extra Poro. So Poro strategy might actually be viable, and I'm actually thinking about building a Braum Poro deck with Poros just being a side strategy for the main deck. I think that can be super powerful, and it's definitely something I'm going to try out. Next card they changed was She Who Wanders. If you don't know, this is a 10 mana 10/10. When you play it, you obliterate all followers with 4 or less power and play and in hands. The buff they gave her was regeneration. This is a weird change. I don't see why they would do this, because she's already destroying all followers with 4 or less power. So when she attacks, she's going to be taking something outright with 4 or more power. If they choose to block, or she can block something. The regeneration, maybe they saw it was like, if your opponent's playing a ton of 5 power dudes, you can actually block those and keep the She Who Wanders alive. But most decks are not playing a lot of 5 power dudes unless you're playing Ashe Sejuani. That's the only deck I can think of that would even be playing a surplus of 5 power dudes. So this card is actually still going to be weak, and regeneration is not going to make her more playable. It makes her better if she was in the meta, but she's not. So next they changed Dayhunder. Instead of being 7 mana, instead of being 6 mana, it's now 7 mana. So Dayhunder got, this is a huge nerf for the card. Being 7 mana means you have to play it a turn later, means you can't combo with another card as often, and it just hurts the deck a lot. Speaking of hurting the deck, they also changed Escaped Abomination. So they made the Escape Abomination's health go from 4 to 3, which means it can be taken out by a lot more cards. While taking it out is still like really annoying because it's such a powerful dude still, and a powerful combination with some other cards. It actually is a lot easier to take it out now and can actually give other decks a better chance against SI. Shadow Isles. So it's definitely they definitely attacked that deck for sure. The next card that they buffed is Run Shadowblade. I don't know if it's buffed, more like reworked. They halved its cost, so it used to be 8, now it's 4. The power went from 6 to 3, and its health went from 4 to 3. The old text was when an enemy summons a follower granted ephemeral. Now it says it has quick attack and strike, create a Shadow Fiend in hand, and a Shadow Fiend's a 1 mana 4/3 ephemeral. This card does not seem like it's going to be prevalent in any ephemeral decks, but still a fun card. I don't know if this card's going to work. I don't know, I'll have to look at it. The card draw is pretty nice, and having a 1 mana 4/3 each turn is actually a pretty good deal. The next card they reworked was Jay Murdarda. They changed his cost from 8 to 6, his health from 6 to 4, and his power from 6 to 4. His old text was elusive when I'm targeted, draw 1. Now he says when I'm targeted and survive, draw 1. So the idea is still the same, but instead of wanting to give him huge buffs and then go off in one turn, you actually just want to do the same thing, except he doesn't have elusive anymore. And he has to survive. So you don't get to draw when your opponent goes to remove him if they're using one cost card. A card that can just kill him at once, like Vengeance. But still, the same card design is the same. I definitely think he might work better now. I don't know. I'll have to try out a deck with him for sure. The next card they changed was the Harrowing. They changed this from 9 to 10. The Harrowing still is a bad card. Changing its cost by 1 mana is not huge at all. Now it might be able to be comboed with Deny, but overall that's not the weakness of the card. The card is that you have to revive 6 allies, so you have to have 6 allies die. That's usually hard when you get to turn 9. Maybe it's not turn 9, but it's turn 12. Maybe that's easier then. But even the strongest dead allies being revived doesn't win you the game. So this card just has, it has a high impact, but for its cost and what it's trying to do, it does not actually have a high enough impact. The next card that they changed was Dredge Daggers. They changed this card from 2 power to 1 power. This was a really weak nerf for Deep. And what I mean by that is it didn't actually get nerfed that much. One power means it can't kill a lot of things, but that wasn't even the point of this card. Sure, it was very nice, but the point was to toss 3, and jump block something. Maybe contest some for the board a little bit, but just keep you alive. Changing the 1 power while it is a big deal, they could have nerfed something bigger for Deep, but even that, Deep was not very prevalent in the meta, so this seems like a decent nerf. I really like the idea of giving Deep less tools. The next card they changed was Mind Meld. They changed it from 8 to 7 mana. So this card actually might be usable now. Before it was played in some decks, very, very fringe decks, but now being 7 mana, it actually is a little bit more usable. Although I still don't see it being used very often, maybe alongside certain other spell archetypes like Lee Sin or Heimerdinger, maybe just as an additional card to those strategies. The next card that got buffed was Petty Officer. Its health went from 1 to 2. So now it's like actually not an awful card. Basically, uh, its health being changed from 2 to 1 is actually very important because now it can survive things that it wouldn't be able to survive before, like Vile Feast and Withering Wail, and things that just do 1 damage. And the ability to choose between a keg and a 1-cost follower is pretty big. So this card actually can see a lot more play than it did before. Alright, so the next change that they made was changing the steal from deck cards. I already talked about this. They basically changed it from, they gave it a keyword nab, changed the idea from stealing from the top. They actually made it steal from the bottom. But they actually nerfed Black Market Merchant. This was probably the key card in the nab strategies, and they gave it to 1 health instead of 2. So it can actually be killed by all the things I talked about before. So Static Shock, Vile Feast, Withering Wail, all those things. So it's actually a lot weaker now. But if you have the Pilfered Goods in the same turn, it actually can combo off anyway. So while a nerf for sure, it's not actually huge. It doesn't break it. So next they changed some card text consistency. So like they swapped next round to next round start. They made sure that there was consistency between enemies versus the enemy nexus. They also swapped out ring numbers for digits and some other things also. So they gave us a new board. They gave us a new Lee Sin board, which is pretty cool. And this actually goes with the Lee Sin package. I'll talk about it in a bit. So they gave us a new Guardian. It's Von Yip. So it's a cat chasing a little laser. That's pretty cute. They gave us 3 new card backs. So they gave us a Lee Sin card back, a Fizz card back, and a Misfortune card back. All pretty lit looking. And I like them all. And I definitely like the idea of them giving us new card backs when we had so few before. By that I mean so few champion card backs. Obviously have 1 for each region. We got 3 new emotes. We got a Vi emote, a Fizz emote, and a Cythria emote. My personal favorite is the Vi emote, but that's just me. And they also gave us a new bundle. So you can get a Lee Sin bundle for 1,332 coins. And it includes Lee Sin's Iron Will board, the Blind Monk card back, and an exclusive Lee Sin icon. Okay, so the next thing that changed was the vault cap and the bot account bans. So they say that we're always working to protect players from botting in some activity, and we don't generally share the specifics. But with this patch, they wanted to share it. One thing that they did, they changed the vault cap. So if you didn't know, so you can get infinite bonus capsules offered past level 13 of the vault, and people would use botting to get to infinitely use this. They capped it now at 25. So while this is basically still infinite for humans, they say it doesn't give the same benefit for people using bots, and so. That's actually pretty cool. They also did a bot account banning almost all the bot accounts. So that's a pretty cool change. I definitely like the idea of capping it when it doesn't matter to humans, but it does definitely affect bot accounts. And yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.